Hello and welcome to my channel, I Win to Lose Gaming. Genshin Impact's Miliastra Wonderland. Why is it even in the game? Many people are upset over this gameplay mode, and honestly, some of it is deserved. But I'm not here to continue to beat a dead horse, because the community has already done that. Instead, I wanted to go against the grain and highlight some of the good in Miliastra Wonderland. Yes, diabolical, I know, to have something positive to say on the internet. But the individual developers are the unsung heroes here and deserve a bit of positivity for their hard work. Behind the questionable monetization model and lack of skins for free-to-play players, there is still Little Timmy and Big Jimmy behind the scenes making fun maps, which any of us can just play completely for free. And I also wanted to briefly discuss the future of Genshin Impact's Miliastra Wonderland and why it might matter more to you than you might expect if you are just a Genshin Impact base game player. So that is the goal of this video, to highlight some of the best maps I've played since Miliastra's release. Now, I've already done a video and a stream highlighting some of the multiplayer games, so today, if you're like most gacha addicts like myself and have no friends, well, this is the perfect resinless video for you, because we'll be taking a look at my subjective list of the best single-player maps that stood out to me in Miliastra Wonderland. The first map is called Misty Mountains, and it's a horror escape game. You're trapped in a house uncovering a major conspiracy involving the innkeeper. Misty Mountains features a surprising amount of puzzles and even jump-scared me a tiny bit here and there. I'll have to admit that I got stuck on the combination lock for this door, but in retrospect it's definitely solvable with the clues provided in game. And these types of puzzles are what made classic horror games so iconic. However, what impressed me the most about this map is that it demonstrates what a bit of creativity is capable of in the Miliastra Wonderland. There were a lot of interesting mechanics, ranging from clues hidden in your inventory to toilet diving to a rotating room puzzle. All of these aspects impressed me, and I wanted to highlight this map in particular for its creativity with its implementation. The developer definitely deserves kudos for what they were able to do with Misty Mountains, and I personally expect maps to become even more impressive and immersive as time goes on. The next map is called Spin Sword. This map combines a bit of roguelike elements with its randomized shop rewards after every round. It was quite satisfying to gradually upgrade my weapon and character to literally turn into a Beyblade, destroying all the enemies in my path. Now, this map is definitely more of a one-off minigame, as there are only a few stages and simply upgrading your weapon appears to be the way to go. But regardless, this demonstrates Genshin's ability to have roguelike elements along with a lot of fun mechanics. My biggest point of feedback though is that I felt like the monster density was too low and it was too easy. But to be fair, most of the games that aren't PvP in Miliastra Wonderland are pretty easy. Regardless, a funny map that, if expanded upon, could make a pretty darn interesting roguelike experience. Okay, look, if you've ever wanted to play Genshin Impact inside of Miliastra Wonderland inside of Genshin Impact, well, we've got Genshin Daily version 1.01. This map is a very tongue-in-cheek parody of what the average day in Genshin Impact is like, albeit perhaps more so a callback when we actually had to do daily commissions. After being shocked by Catherine's gains at the gym, you can do some dailies, get some primo gems, and then be very disappointed in your pulls. I do wonder if anyone managed to get a 5-star from this, but as for me, I finished my dailies and just logged out, like I usually do. What I like about this is the obvious sense of humor and self-awareness of this map. What's next? Are we going to have Miliastra Wonderland and Genshin Impact and Miliastra Wonderland and Genshin Impact? Personally, I can't wait for that sequel. Now, this next one I found by digging through Reddit, a map made by Devastator111. This appears to be inspired by a particularly accurate battle simulator, where various enemies are worth various amounts of points, and you can summon those enemies to partake in a battle to the death. What I like about this particular, somewhat realistic combat arena is that they appear to have figured out how to allow extra large loads in their maps. Your device's mileage will definitely vary, but it was fun to watch a bunch of slimes decimate everything with their endless barrage of elemental reactions, along with watching the Kagumenki's valiant last stand against the robot invasion. This map was more so designed to be PvP, but it was fun to just pit various Genshin enemies against each other in the single player version. Personally, I would love to see ideas like this be further expanded upon, as there's a lot of fun and funny scenarios possible with this. And have you ever seen that mobile game ad and thought, well, this isn't how the game is like at all? Well, now you can play this mining simulator game which resembles those ads you see that scoop up tons of resources to make stacks of cash. Granted, this is admittingly more rudimentary than even those rudimentary ads, which is saying a lot, but it was a fun one-time romp to shovel countless ores through the mining simulator for a bunch of imaginary cash. While it certainly lacks replayability, I have no regrets playing it this one time, as it was worth a good chuckle. And I've got 3 honorable mentions before we get to the best single-player map in Miliastra Wonderland, at least in my opinion, with the first honorable mention honestly probably deserving a spot instead of Mining Simulator, but just based on personal preference. Run a Cake Shop does exactly what it advertises to do, as you grow crops, harvest slimes and birds, and make cakes for your countless legions of wooden men to purchase from you. The resource management isn't punishing, and it's funny to see beer being sold as cake, so it definitely deserves to be on this list. The next map, Genshin Match, is a pretty well made match 3 game, where there's even a bit of extra depth to it since you're able to place some pieces that are under pieces into the queue for matching purposes. There's even a leaderboard, which is pretty neat, giving some Candy Crush masters an opportunity for glory. And how can we forget about the EXP farm missions? In particular, focus on the ones that also give achievements, as those give the most experience. After just a few, I managed to reach level 10 in my Miliastra Wonderland level, which allows me to level up my mannequin up to level 90 in the main game. An honorable shout out to these map makers for their community service, and also to Hoyoverse for allowing these maps to game the system. And finally, we've reached my personal favorite single-player experience map in Miliastra Wonderland, FableCodexAbyssPurge, one word. This one was so good that as I'm writing this script, I do plan to go back and play it again. It's a Vampire Survivors inspired game with multiple weapon options and upgrade paths you can choose from. It appears to have multiple maps as well, further adding to the replayability. What's particularly impressive about this is that, again, we're just a few weeks into Miliastra Wonderland's release. As Hoyoverse adds more developer tools, and as developers have, well, more time, we might be getting some seriously fun games like this at this rate. Personally, I found that just upgrading the main weapon was the best course of action, but I do want to try out the other weapons that I didn't select just to see how they compare. And being a fan of roguelikes, this one actually scratched my itch for the time that I played it for. So apparently, this map maker actually gave me a shout out, so let's check it out. Technically, this is a multiplayer map though, so it's not really part of the best single player maps, but I wanted to check it out because, well, they gave me a shout out, so thank you for the shout out. It's a game called Magical Heist. Anyway, you play as either a mercenary or a guard. If you're a mercenary, you go around looting the treasure where you're able to hold up to 5 points of treasure. Thanks to smoke bombs and your Air Jordans running away as fast as you can, avoid the guard and bring it back to your base, and steal 4,000 Labubucks worth of treasure to win. Meanwhile, as a guard, you lay traps and your goal is to capture the mercenaries 6 times. You can also put decoy treasures as well, and if you ever wanted to channel your inner Hydro Abyss Mage, well, being a guard will do that for you. And there's even holiday themed maps like these Halloween ones. Nice. So there you go, my list of single player experience maps that might be worth checking out on the Miliastra Wonderland. I recommend searching for them by their names as well, because unfortunately I don't have the map codes for all the regions. So yeah, look, I get it. The feedback regarding Miliastra Wonderland is all very legitimate, and I agree with most of it. I'm also not a fan of the monetization, and many of the games are pretty janky. But the biggest thing about Miliastra Wonderland that I feel like people aren't giving enough credit for are the individuals who are making the fun experiences in this gameplay mode. Not only are most of them doing it for presumably free, this environment will need time to bake in in the oven in order to live up to our expectations. And there are already a few maps that lived up to my personal expectations. Also, there are some pretty incredible looking maps on the CN servers, which I'm a bit sad don't appear to be on the other servers, like this Overwatch clone, or this mannequin having an epic kit. So hopefully there will be more high quality maps ported over from the CN servers or just across various servers. Personally, I can't wait to see more of what the community can cook up, especially when our characters from Genshin Impact are inevitably added, presumably around Luna 4. And this is the reason why Miliastra Wonderland might matter even for those that just enjoy the main game. If we're able to bring your characters from the main game in their fully built glory, there will be an insane amount of possibilities, endgame combat modes, and PvP that can be done in Miliastra Wonderland. But we'll just have to see and wait to see how Miliastra Wonderland grows and develops in the future. And in case you aren't aware, this game is Genshin Impact, an open world action RPG game on PC and mobile, where you can annihilate your enemies with various elemental reactions. Miliastra Wonderland is a new gameplay mode in Genshin Impact, where players can create maps and play them with friends and foes alike, completely for free. Simply complete Act 1 of the Archon Quest prologue to unlock it, and you can even customize your own mannequin and mannequina. Whether it's party games, PvP, grand adventures, or even your own game, there's likely something you can enjoy within Miliastra Wonderland. Down below, I'll have a coupon code for you to redeem for 160 Geode of replication, as well as some links to where map developers can join and potentially earn some rewards by making successful maps. So yeah, if you like what you see, you can check out Genshin Impact down below. And as mentioned earlier, one of my favorite maps was FableCodexAbyssPurge, which is a pretty faithful recreation of various popular survival roguelike games. Hopefully you can find some maps that you might enjoy in Miliastra Wonderland as well. Anyway, a big thanks to all the developers that are making this experience possible and for making these maps for all of us for free. You're all the real MVPs of Miliastra Wonderland. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Win to Lose, signing out.